2020 has been a terrible year. Started with bushfires for us. And then, of course, COVID leaves me speechless. And now California's burning. And America's falling apart. It's like, wow. When the bushfires came, I felt helpless to stop them. There was nothing I could do. In an election, you get one vote. One vote. That's it. It's no wonder you might feel helpless. And you sit and you watch what's going on, whether it's your country or another country that you care deeply about. A country that's supposed to be, a beacon of democracy. And that very democracy is under threat by an elected president. It's all very dismal. And what does an individual do when the world seems to be falling apart around them? When feelings of hopelessness and hurt and pain, and when your heart is ripped open with compassion for those who are suffering, it's painful to watch elected representatives bumbling. It's painful to watch people not listening to the scientists. It's painful for people not to be able to agree upon what reality is. So what do we ordinary people do? How do we handle the sense of helplessness when we watch what's going on in the world? I can't stop the fires in California any more than I could stop the fires here. And I can't stop President Trump trying to destroy American democracy. I don't even have a vote there. But I care. So how do I deal with this? This helplessness. Well, I seem to do okay. And what do? I look out the window and I see the trees. I turn to the natural world to give me sustenance, to bring me back to reality. Because the helplessness is all in association with something that you can't do anything about here and now. But I can feel my feet on the ground, feel my butt on the seat, feel my back against the chair. I can pay attention to my breathing. I can come back to where I am here and now. It sounds so glib, but actually that's the only way I can take back a sense of control over my life now. Because this me here now, this I can do something about. I can do something about the way I interact with others about these issues when that comes up, if I want to go that road. But right here now, I can breathe. I can feel. And I can listen. Something about listening, you just open your awareness to all the sounds that are around you. I just think of it as, grounding. A grounding in here and now. And whatever way works for you, I think that is something that we can do to overcome this feeling of helplessness, which is a very painful feeling. And of course, we should just sit with that feeling. Should. I don't want to be prescriptive. I want to just share what I do and hope that maybe that helps other people. But being with these uncomfortable feelings is the first step in dealing with them. And this is something I've had to learn after Tibetan Buddhism, because we were always in such a rush to let them go, as if they were evil. But feelings are not evil. They give you important information. Painful feelings, it's like pain in your body. You have pain in your body. Tells you there is something wrong. If you have painful emotions, it tells you there's something wrong. And to just see an emotion as a bad thing and just to, like drop it immediately means you're not responding to that message from your mind and your body, because they're really connected, that there's something wrong. So this feeling of helplessness tells us that there's something wrong. Okay, and dealing with that on a practical level is something that we can do after we have become accepting of these feelings, accepting of this feeling of helplessness, that it's okay to feel like this. There's a good reason to feel like this. And it's kind of like I have to open my heart to this feeling. Sort of give it a hug and pat it and go, there, hopelessness, it's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's a perfectly reasonable way to feel. And somehow by sitting and just feeling the pain of it, it eases anyway. But sometimes it's too overwhelming. Sometimes it just keeps coming back. It becomes an ongoing thing, or you get really tied up in it and it stops you from moving forward. It can paralyze you. So I think when we feel these things, we need to step back from them a little bit and just watch them. So we become a watcher, an observer of what's happening for ourselves. So we separate ourselves a little bit from these feelings. And that little bit of space enables us to not get caught up, not get paralyzed by our helplessness. It doesn't matter where you are, there's sky, unless you're locked in something with no window. And the sky I always find really good, especially if it's a blue sky. I always like this thing, you merge your gaze with the sky. And try, just open your gaze and merge it with the sky. When I do that, I just become enormously spacious, and there's a sense of relief, a sense of I'm bigger than all of this garbage. I'm not confined to this body, to this reality even. It's not floating off. It's actually tuning into a unity, tuning into that space where I'm deeply connected with everything. I can do it looking at a flower as well, or a candle or whatever. You kind of merge your mind with the object. And the natural world's really good because it's like an entryway, into this state of union with everything. Just listening does it too. You just listen to everything and just allow your mind to just expand and connect. Anyway, that's sort of the way I do it. And of course, a lot of you have learned a lot of meditation tools that might do the same for you. I don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is we have our conventional reality. Then we have what you might call the absolute reality. But it's not above. It's more like it's around and through it, and it holds it, and it's the nature of reality. So it's the physics, it's all the rules, if you like, that make it work. And then you can see that what's happening in the world is just, that's how things work. When people do this happens, And people can do this because the nature of reality is that everything is changing all the time. And because of that, every little thing that you do is actually important. Now, you don't see it when you're just focused on the conventional. You feel totally helpless. But when you go into this greater reality where you recognize your connection with everything, then really everything that you do does have some effect. It's like you're constantly, with your actions, throwing pebbles into the pool of conventional reality, and then ripples go out from that. So everybody that you interact with, you have an effect on. So if you know some Trump supporters, talk to them. I don't think I would have the patience. But some of you have family members who vote for Trump. So if you take a deep breath and you actually speak to them, not telling them they're fools and idiots, that isn't going to work. Asking them questions, finding the common ground, because the common ground is that you care about your country. Really, you do. That's the common ground. But you have different ideas of what's good for it. My point is that you can do something even on a relative level. One little thing that can have ripples, because whenever you spark some new awareness in this person, and then it affects the next person, the next person. And it may seem tiny, and it may seem like nothing to you. And it may seem really hard to believe that that would have any effect. And it may have only a tiny effect, any tiny effect at all. But if we're all doing that, then yeah, it has an effect. And it's like, how do you combat evil? Let's be clear here. There are people in the world who are so incredibly selfish and so focused on, something like just money and power, that they ride over everything else. They lose any moral integrity that they have. How do you fight that? Not with violence. Violence only gives them a reason to come out with guns. No, you fight it with the opposite. You fight it with intelligence, with critical thinking, and with love and compassion that recognizes the pain out of which people's choices come. People vote for Trump because they're hurting. And if you recognize that, I think that helps. If we can tune into that nature of reality where we know we're connected, the compassion and the love is just there, because we're all the same, then in the nature of reality, we're all just particles vibrating at different rates. Some of us are more solid than others. So, I guess all of that stuff that you learnt in your Dzogchen, in your Buddhism, and the religion's got big problems, but what you learnt can really help when you feel helpless. We just have to feel it first, not throw it away, not try and get rid of it, and then turn your mind in and turn that razor awareness of your own mind onto itself. That is the key. Sogyal was right. He was an arsehole, but he learnt from really brilliant teachers like Tujum Rinpoche. It's turning your mind in and turning your awareness back onto your own awareness. It's like this watcher. Watch the watcher. Who is the watcher? The watcher is watching. You're the person watched and you're the person watching. Now, that watcher, take that watcher and turn his ability to watch, turn his awareness, her awareness back onto that awareness. I just find when you do that, it's like everything opens up. And then you have this connection to everything and this interdependence you understand. And then you don't feel so helpless. And even if you don't find yourself in a state where you really feel this connection to everything and you have this kind of wide open sense of awareness and unity, the process of turning your mind in will give you a sense of calm and a sense that, these feelings are just passing feelings. They won't remain, hopefully, for too long. I mean, they could remain for quite some while, but they are still fluid and flexible and able to change. And if you go out and do something you love, something enjoyable, something that makes your heart sing, colour in, create, dance, sing, go for a swim, a run, pump weights, whatever brings joy to your heart, and do that too. To give yourself a break from the feelings of helplessness. So, that's a two-pronged approach, the inner and the outer. Turn your mind in, do some meditation, whatever you want to call it, to give yourself a break, to allow yourself to connect with a greater reality, I suppose you could would say, a greater awareness than what you might normally operate with. And do stuff that makes you laugh. Share stuff that makes you laugh. Rediscover your joy by doing those wonderful things that nurture you. I garden. When I'm in the garden, I'm focused on the garden. I'm focused on the things that are growing. And it's not even that I have a sense that I can control what I do, because you can't, a plant will either grow or not grow. I mean, you tend to it. But this feeling of helplessness in relation to politics and natural disasters, it's not there for a while. It gives you a break. You're focused on something else. So when I feel helpless and hopeless, it's what I do. I hope this helped you.